Hello Divination and welcome. We have a brand new 4-part mini-series for you. In this mini-series, we'll be building a product review site using Extra. The goal of this mini-series is to provide you with creative ideas which you can use in your own project. So, without wasting a lot of time, let's dive into our mini-series.
All you're going to need in this second part of our mini-series is just a little bit of CSS code, and if you'd like to follow along step by step, I will leave a link to the post which has the CSS code in the show notes below. So let's start by adding our first product. So we're going to come over here to post and click on add new. Let's give it a title, and this one is a fitness tracker. I'm going to click on use the Divi builder, and we're going to go straight into the Visual Builder. So for now, I'm just going to skip the tour. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to start off by adding one column, and we're going to add a text module. I'm going to make it snap because it's easier for me to work with this snapped to the left. Okay, so now we're going to add our subtitles. But what you want to do, because this CSS code I'm going to add only works if you're in the text view. So in the visual view, it doesn't really work. So make sure you're in the text view, and this is the code you need to paste. So you can see here that it comes in with the styling. So right below the heading, what you want to do is you want to add your product description. So I'm just going to paste some lorem ipsum text. Okay, so now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and save. So next we need to add another module. So I'm going to click this plus button here and add another text module. And again, while we're in our text tab, we need to add the pros and cons. So I'm going to paste it in here like that. Okay, so let's save this. Okay, so next let's add another row. So I'm going to come over here and click this plus button here to add this row. And this time we're going to need 2 equal halves like that. And these are going to be both text modules. So I'm going to click on text. And what we want to add here is the pros and the cons. So I'm just going to add my text in here like that. So that's my CSS code. I'm just going to copy that, save, and then I'm going to come over here and duplicate this and then just drag it over to the right, and then I'll just rename this. So I'll just highlight it, and now it's renamed. Okay, so next below the pros, we are going to add a blurb module. So I'm going to click this plus button here and select my blurb. So I'm just going to type it here, and it is right here. So I'm going to select it, and over here in the content, I'm just going to paste my lorem text. Okay, so let's come over here to image and icon, and definitely we need to use an icon. So we're going to come over here and click on use icon, and the icon we need is just this plus button here. Now we need, for that button to stand out, it needs to be in a circle. So we're going to come over here to design, click on image and icon, and then we're going to click on circle icon. But now we can't see the icon because it's the same color as the circle. So let's just change this color like that for now. So we're going to change our icon color and replace this dark gray with this color here. And then we need the icon placement to be to the left. So I'm going to click here and select it. So now it's on the left. Right, so what I'm going to do quickly is I'm just going to go back in here because we have a bit of too much text here. So I'm going to go into text and just remove a bit of it like that, or in fact even as much as that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this a few times, and then we're going to drag some of these over to the cons as well, like that. Okay, so now we need to add a bit of color to the background of the pros and the cons. So we're going to come over here into our settings, click on background. So now we need to go into column 1 background, click this plus button and add our background color like that. And then over here for column 2 background, we need to add the same color. So I'm going to paste it again in here. And you can see right here on my right that all these changes are happening in real time. Okay, so now it's time to go into the design tab. So over here, we need to click on sizing. We're going to click on use gutter width, and we're going to set this to 1. And we also need to equalize the column height. So the reason why we need to equalize the column heights is sometimes you can have more text here describing the pros. So you don't want to have a situation where you have this side longer than the other side. Okay, so now it's time to go into the advanced tab because we need to add some CSS code. So we're going to come over here to custom CSS. And then we're going to come over here to column 1 main element and paste this CSS code. So now we can see we've added this styling to the top of this box. We're going to do the same to column 2 main element and add a different color. So now we can see that we're bringing life to this pro and cons section. So for now, let me go ahead and save. So now that we've built most of our elements on this page, it's now easy for us to duplicate and add more information. So for example, here we need these pros and cons. So what we can do here is we can duplicate these rows and add more information to them. So what I want to do next is I'm going to duplicate this row. So I'm just going to click this duplicate button and we're going to drag this to the bottom because we're going to use this as the title of our next section. And our next section is going to be called specifications. And then we're also going to duplicate this. And we're also going to duplicate this row which has the pros and cons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my wireframe mode so I can just be precise with where I'm dragging things. So you can see it's right here, the row that I need to drag. So I'm just going to drag it below like that. So let's go in and do some customization. So I'm just going to click my desktop view so we can see where things are. So this is how it's looking so far. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do here is to remove this word pros and also remove cons like that. And then I'm going to come over here and go into this blurb module because what we need to do is to change the icon because this is going to be a check mark. So I'm going to come over here and look for my icon and I have it right here. So we can see here now that it's updated. Okay, so now that we have our check mark, what we're going to do is to come over here to the design because the color of the icon needs to be this really dark gray. So I'm going to paste my color in here like that and we can see that it's updated now. So what you want to do now is to delete these and then just duplicate them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete one so I can just show you quickly how to do it. Okay, so you just click on duplicate a few times. Okay, so now that I've added all my specifications, we can see now that in our design, our text here is close to this line at the top. So we need to fix that by adding some CSS code. So let's come over here into our row settings. So I'm going to click this gear icon. Okay, so we're going to go into our advanced tab, click on custom CSS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this code with this new one. So this adds some 10 pixel to the top and also it adds that really dark gray color. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and also do the same to the second column. Okay, I'm going to paste it there. So now it's looking really good. So let's save our settings. So now it's time to add our button. So what we need to do next is to click this plus button here to add our new row. We're going to need a single column. And in that column, we're going to need the button module. So I'm just going to search for it and it's right here. And now it's time to customize our button. So I'm going to go ahead and put and type in my text. So I'm just going to say buy now. And then over here, we're going to add a link. But for now, I'm just going to add a blank link. So ideally, we need this to be centered. So we're going to come over here to the alignment and then we're going to click center. So we're going to come over here to the text color and it's fine as dark. We're going to come over here to this button. Now, this button is very important because use custom styles for button allows us to really customize this button. So I'm going to click on yes to this. Okay, so let's start off by adjusting our text, our button text. So let's set that to 30. Our button text color, this is going to be this really dark gray. So let's scroll all the way down here until we get to the button hover text color. And I'm going to paste my color in here. And as I mentioned before, if you'd like to follow along step by step with these colors that we're using in this tutorial, I will link to the post in the show notes below. Next is the button hover background color. So I'm going to come over here and paste my color in here like that. So we can see when we hover, it has this white background. And then finally, we need the hover border. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and paste my color. Now the color I'm pasting here is the same color as the text color. So that really gives it consistency. So if I scroll over here, you can see now that it's really looking nice. So let's go ahead and save. So pretty much this is how we need our layout to look like. So we are done with this. The next step now is to edit this page using our normal edit. So let's make sure that we save this, because if you don't, you're going to lose all your settings. So I'm going to click on publish Okay, so that's looking good. I'm going to exit the Visual Builder and I'm going to go into my post. So I'm going to click on Edit Post. So what we're going to do next is we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here, because this is where the power of this tutorial is going to be, because this is where we get to review our products. We can show percentages and so on and so forth. So let me start off by adding my summary in here. And again, I'm just going to use my lorem text. And this is our first review. So now let's add our titles. So the first title here can be design, for example, and then we can add our rating. So let's say our rating here is 85%, and then we can click on add breakdown. Okay, so that's the first breakdown done. So the next one, you need to do the same thing. So we added this first one as design. So the next one could be performance. And again, you can add your rating. Add breakdown. So continue adding these until you had say about 4 or 5. So now that we have our rating in place, it's time to do the final touches before we publish this post. So ideally, what we want to do is to add this post to the right category. So if you scroll up here, just add this to, let's say, the health and fitness. Right, so let's make a few more changes. So if you come over here to the bottom, you can see here that we have extra settings. So you can actually use this to override whatever comes by default with extra. So for now, I'm just going to disable this author box and also set this as a featured post. And then what we need to do now is to add a featured image. Right, so let's add our featured image. So I'm going to come over here to set featured image. So my featured image is on my computer somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on upload files, select files, and to make things easier for me, I'm just going to upload all the images that I need. So I'm going to double click and select all my images and click open. Okay, so I'm going to select my product and click on set as featured image. So you can see now that it's added right here at the bottom. Now it's time to publish or update if you've published it. So now it's time to take a look at our post. So I'm going to come over here and click on view post. Okay, so wow, so this looks beautiful. As I'm scrolling down here, it has a score right here. And then if you scroll down, we also have the rating and the review. And here is the summary text. And here is where we have all our percentages. So we have the design, performance, battery life, and features. So let's say you want to add another product. This means you'd have to go through all this process of putting all these things together one by one. But here's the thing, you can actually save yourself a lot of time by saving this page to the library. So I'm going to click on Save to Library. And then you need to give this layout a name. So let's call it Product Post Template. Click on Save. So next time we need to create a brand new post, all we have to do is to go to the library and load up this page and just change all the contents that need to go on that page. So finally, we need to add some CSS code to style our page. So to add our CSS code, all we have to do is to come over here to Extra, click on Theme Customizer, and then we're going to come over here to Additional CSS, and we're going to paste all our CSS in here. Like that. So you can see as I pasted this, it's bringing all this styling to the page. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save and publish, and then we're going to refresh this page and see what changes have been made. So this is how it looked before. And if I refresh, our CSS code has made these changes. So we can see here our product description has these lines, which really makes it prominent, and also our pros and cons, specifications. And over here, the customer or the visitor to your website can actually come and do their own rating.
So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and do follow us on our social media platforms. By doing so, you'll be notified every time we release new videos. Until next time, thanks for watching and see you soon.